Hey guys, today I thought I'd do a review on our propane stove that we've had for a few months now. So we've had a chance to try it out for all manner of things and figured it'd be a good time to do a review since I get a lot of questions on it. So yeah, a little backstory on how we got this stove. When we moved into this house 10 years ago, there was an electric range here that the previous owner had left, and it looked like it was probably from the late 70s by the style of it. And I'm sure that was a huge energy suck, but I didn't feel like I could justify going out and getting a new stove because it still worked, so it just seemed kind of wasteful to chuck it because it was still working. Well, anyway, back in September, I think, early September maybe, my mother-in-law was moving and she wasn't going to need her stove. My husband was over there and he was helping her clean out the house, and he goes, "Oh, I should bring over Mother's glass top range and bring that over for you." I said, "Don't you dare. Don't you dare." I've had this one picked out for like 10 years and I was just waiting for that old one we had to kick the bucket. About 2 weeks after that, after he said he was going to bring the other one home, I was cooking breakfast and I had a cast iron skillet in each hand. And I was moving them around on the stovetop and I got a shock. It arced off my rings. It went right through this hand, and I could feel it go all the way up my arm and come right out the other hand. And right after that happened, there was like a bunch of sparks and stuff came shooting and snapping out of the back burner, and I was like, oh my word. Joe was home that morning, so he come over and unplugged it, and the fasteners, I don't know what you call them, but those things that hold the heating elements to the stove top and into the plugs, those had all corroded, and so basically the entire top of that stove was electrified. And I had just told my 6-year-old son that he could help me cook eggs, so yeah, that could have been a whole lot worse. So anyway, we got this unique classic. The one that I actually had picked out originally was the, I think it was called the Unique Basic, which is like the step down from this one. And the difference with that one is the Basic hardly has any like it really has no backsplash at all. It's got like a little lip on the back like this. So when Joe went to go pick this one up, or go pick up our stove, he said, well, hey, this one's on sale and it's a little bit nicer than the one that you had in mind. And I was like, yeah, get it. Alright, so let's bring you in closer and show you what it looks like. Okay, now to start, it's got this continuous cast iron grate, which I love, because trying to can with that other stove was a pain in the neck because it was like a standard electric stove, so it just had like 2 smaller burners, like, you know, diagonal, and then 2 larger ones. Well, this one, I mean, you really need like 2 large burners when you're canning, because the pot wouldn't fit on the back because of the lip of that control panel would stick out so far, so my big pots and canners and stuff wouldn't fit on the large burner on the back because that was always pushing it off the burner. And then I only had that one large burner on the top, so that was a pain in the neck. So that's what I love about this. I've always wanted the continuous cast iron grate, pretty rugged, come right off pretty easily like this. Pretty easy to clean. Another thing that I really love about this stove is it's got sealed burners, so nothing goes down inside. You don't have to worry about that. It's very easy to clean. They just come right off like that. Pretty simple. Love it. We've got there's 2 like regular sized burners here. You got a little simmer burner on the back, and then you got this really large double burner. This one I think is, I want to say it's like 13,000 BTUs or something like that. But that's great for bringing something to a quick boil or anything of that nature. And like I mentioned, it's got this nice little backsplash. This does get quite hot though when the oven's running, so you really don't want to keep like spices and stuff on there because this does get super hot. Like, especially plastic. Don't ever put a plastic bottle up here because it might actually melt it. It gets quite hot. But the sides and stuff don't really seem to get very hot. Just all the heat coming up from on the back there. So you just get your controls here for the burners. You want to see that there's a big bad boy here. Might be too bright. There she is. Now I haven't actually tested the oven with like a separate gauge or anything, but I mean I've cooked all kinds of stuff in here. I love to cook, so I'm like cooking bacon all the time. And I have had no problems. I have not had to adjust any of my recipes or anything. It must be dead on. It's got to be pretty accurate because I have had zero trouble. Another thing that I love about the stove is, I mean, it's 100% off-grid, and the igniter, yep, just takes that D battery right in there and right under this kick plate here. So it's pretty simple to get to. Of course, you can also light it with a match. This is the broiler, and also with the heats the oven. Nice wide even flame. Got the broiler tray, slides right out. Just put your pan or whatever on there. I made spaghetti pie the other day and then popped her in there to just kind of brown up the cheese on the top a little bit. Turned out pretty good. You don't have to like sit on the floor to light it, obviously. You can just look down in through here when you light in your oven, and you can see the flame right there. So, excuse the crud, but it's a happy oven. I use it. Well, it's a good little stove. I love it. It's everything that I've ever looked for in a stove. The sealed burners, the off, you know, being off-grid. Don't have to worry about power outages, nothing, and it's nice cast iron top. There's also no standing pilot light, so whenever you turn this on and use it, you know, you're using the propane, but as soon as you shut it off, all the, you know, there's no pilot lights at all, so it's not using propane when you're not using it. Love it. It's not wasteful. Well, we've got it hooked up to two 100-pound tanks of propane, and Joe put a regulator on there so that it'll switch over automatically. When one tank runs out, it'll swap over, and then we'll just go fill the one that's empty. So yeah, if I've forgotten to mention anything or you have any more questions or anything, just go ahead and leave them down below. Joe got it at General Appliance in Brewer, so I'll leave their information down below. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll catch you on the next one.